itself. And oh my, that's a bit of a surprise, as the map is actually Arena. Alright, so we can turn off the fog of war, that's not going to be useful in here. And yet, right off the bat, we are seeing a very interesting spawn for Milo, who is basically having just one way out of his base, which can be a bit of an advantage if he's, for example, slinging. So that basically means he can have just an easier time of defending himself, or it's going to be a bit of a problem if he is under attack from especially a slung player, because he has absolutely nowhere to run. He would have absolutely literally nowhere to run, so that wouldn't be all that great for him. But looking at the spawn overall, he's in the pocket and he is Mayan, so I'm thinking, well, I was going to say he might be slinging, but at the same time, Mayans are actually the ones that are usually slung, because they are pretty beastly once they are. But looking at the civilization, Mayans, Goths, Aztec, Mayans and Aztecs are of course usual, Goths not, and that basically tells me that they are going to be slinging into Goths, and that might be double sling from VNs. I have seen them use double sling, if I remember correctly, in the quarterfinals against NCs, where it actually worked quite nicely for them. Oh no! Yeah, that didn't work out, did it? Come on. Oh yeah, that's better. Didn't really listen all that well this year. Took some extra effort, but since you have absolutely nothing to do in the early stage of Arena, that's something that you actually need to spend your time on, as it spares you a bit of resources and makes your time in the early game less boring if you are playing the map. Interesting placement of the extra mines in here, since he's in the pocket, that could be potentially obtainable for him, as especially a Mayan. If he drops a castle about here, potentially he can be just controlling both of these gods, which is a whole lot of resources. But let's check, for example, for other players, some two boars, and in the base otherwise pretty far away. That's good for defense potentially. But let's check. Tab relics right next to Heimdall. That's a pretty nice spawn for him, but otherwise having the stone and gold in the forefront is definitely not going to help him all that much. But he has been able quite nicely to lure in the boar even through the gate, so that's a pretty good job in there. But let's see. He does have loom, so he doesn't need to worry about losing the villager. He's going to be pretty much fine hiding into the town center. Nicely played in here. Behind his base, just some extra sheep, that's pretty much it. But also a pretty much a decent amount of extra room for him for some movement, so that's definitely going to help him in the castle age. And let's see if that will be something that he will be quite happy about or not. Extra gold behind his base yet again, behind or rather between him and his ally Milo in there. That's going to be really a lot of gold for them potentially. Whereas the last player from his team is going to be on the left, Dark Knight, who is quite close by to the teal player. It's almost quite close to be a bug, because sometimes the players actually spawn in a way that one of the walls is behind the walls of the other player. And it's pretty stupid and usually results in a restore of the map. But yeah, he has just been able to keep the gates in here at the back, as otherwise there's nothing for him. Extra room, extra stone, but also interesting gold placement of in here in the middle, because this has probably, I'm thinking that this spawn actually resulted from the fact that this gold is outside of the green base, whereas this spawn is outside of the teal base. So this isn't actually supposed to be inside the bases. This is supposed to be outside but of the other player, but since they are spawning so close, it is actually inside. So I'm going to be expecting a lot of castles from both of these players about here, as Scourge is, as Persian, of course, going to be interested in keeping a lot of gold for himself, because he is going to be probably aiming for a bit of paladins in the later game. Otherwise, the pocket player for VNs, rather for VIKs, sorry, is going to be the Mayan player, or rather, not really looking correctly in here. It's going to be warrior with Chinese. That's not bad. Chinese are pretty good in pocket, not really any kind of problem with that for him, as he's just now getting rid of the walls, not having any kind of extra resources at the back, and really kind of small base, I have to say. He's going to be quite unhappy about it, I'm thinking, if he wants to boom somehow strongly, which you basically want every time on Arena. And the last player to have a look at from VIKs is going to be Winchester, who will be facing, quite interestingly, Heimdall on the right, in pretty good fight between Mayans and Aztecs. Well, a lot of different civilizations in here. Mayans, Chinese, Persians for the VIKs, whereas for the opponents, VNs, we have already said Mayans, Goths, Aztec. Ians, yep, I have to repeat, this is definitely looking like double sling into the Goth. And it's going to be quite deadly because he's quite close by to Courage. And is there going to be some sling from VIX? If I had to guess, the Mayan would be definitely a good choice, especially since it's Winchester, so basically the best player overall in the game, we have to say. So sling from Warrior is kind of presupposed, I would be thinking. And well, as we are advancing into Feudal Ages, we're just gonna have a look a bit around to see if there's something interesting otherwise. Another relic is at the bottom. Various extra relics are on the left, so it's basically really quite a good lottery right now win for VNs because they are having one in their home base, second quite close by, and the other two are basically, you can be saying, in Heimdall's base, as I don't really see a way how Wix could be stealing this, and on Arena this makes a whole lot of difference because the extra gold is quite powerful as long, or rather the longer the game goes. Everybody going into feudal, and at what amount of villages? 23 Milo, 24 for Dark Knight, 22 at Heimdall. It's kind of few. Courage is at 26, Warrior at 26, Winchester 27. So we can see that Vix are definitely advancing later and with pretty strong economies. So they are hoping for a bit standard build-up, which is kind of curious because these different amount of villages definitely are telling me that we are going to be seeing this link from VN's market already being dropped for Milo, and for the other ally on the left, of course not, because that's the Dark Knight, who is going to be slunk, and market on the right from Hydro as well. All right, so we are going to be waiting for coinage, because that will be confirming that they will be slinging. We have also seen the horse collar from Milo, so he's definitely going full on. Coinage coming just now in. So far everything going as expected. Areas, the scouting still going on the map in here, as there's not much otherwise to see. But the extra gold placement and stone placement, and this is not really half bad, because this could be nicely hidden in here. Not exactly sure why, because of course it's Warrior right next to his home base, definitely could be placed somewhere else a bit better, but at the same time it doesn't really matter all that much as everybody has probably scouted everything that they need. And there's not much else they will be needing to know, especially as far as Warrior goes, as I'll be thinking that maybe he will be the one that will be slinging. Drop in a market, of course. And on the left, yet another market right now from Persians. Alright. Alright. So, double bit Exor score for Courage and Coinage. Confirming that he is going to be slinging. Persian going to be slinging into somebody. The Mayan. I'm pretty sure about it. You can see that Heimdall is already working on putting down the walls in here. But Castle Age is coming for the first players from Winchester Dark Knight, and so far everything is going exactly as expected. And yeah, Warrior also coinage, so it's going to be double sling against double sling, even though I don't think I have seen the coinage actually from the blue player. Let's check the achievements into economy, and oh yeah, blue isn't slinging so far. So Courage is, Milo is, of course. Coinage right now from Heimdall. Okay, so it's going to be double slinging from all of them. So he was just a bit too slow, or maybe he was thinking that he's not gonna sling double. And I was maybe waiting for what the opponents are gonna do, and they have maybe gauged from the points and the scouting and such that there's actually gonna be double sling, and they are responding quite aptly with double sling of their own. And let's see who's going to be much more powerful. This is really gonna be a funny game, because this will inevitably result into fight if Winchester can kill his opponents faster, or if it's going to be Dark Knight who will be killing his opponents faster. I don't really expect that there's going to be help to either of the allies on either of the teams. So this is going to be a really quite interesting game on our hands. A bit of fighting, as that was a purple Eagle Warrior and Red Scout. And the green one is dead if he doesn't run away. Oh, why is actually Courage running away? That was a mistake from him. He actually allowed the green scout to dish some additional damage. Definitely wasn't ideal for him, but he has still won and will be able to scout a bit more around the map. So pretty much the only one with scout remaining is right now going to be Besides almost that courage in there, this blue player, Heimdall, as we are right now pausing. So let's check what's happening in here, and that's of course going to be aggressive castle drop, as even though the Goth cannot rebuild the walls, he doesn't really mind at all, and he's gonna be doing exactly what we talked about a bit earlier, that either of the players in here is going to be interested in controlling the mines in here. This is also quite dangerous for the Persian, because he's gonna lose the stone. This should be in range, I'm thinking, and he has a lot of gold behind his base. That's definitely nice for him, but he doesn't have the stone. You can see the second stone is outside, so he's gonna be out of it, and that's not ideal, because as a slinger you want to supply a lot of stone to your ally, especially since he's Mayan, so he might be wanting castles. He's already going for one, so he's gonna go for plumed archers. And is it a correct choice? Because if you think about it, they are going to be double slinging into Mayan, into archers, into plumed archers, and then the opponents are gonna go into Goths, so into Huscarls. And that's a direct counter, so I'm not exactly sure that's going to work all that well for VIKs, because that means that even though I was thinking that maybe Dark Knight is not gonna help in the defense of his allies of Heimdall and Milo, I'm thinking that he could be always sparing at least like 5-10 Huscarls, and they will be dealing quite nicely with the plumed archers, because of course they are having such a huge pierce armor that they are not going to be threatened by anything else. Yeah, Milo right now recognizing double sling versus double sling. That's exactly what is happening in here, and that's basically because they are seeing that nobody's advancing it through castle, it's just literally two guys, and since we are on arena, where all you want to do is fast advance into Castle Age, that basically tells you everything that you need about the game right now. Yeah, if you know Spanish, you can actually read what Milo is right now or rather suggesting, something with double barracks and such. So far in his base, nothing interesting, but that's kinda expected, but he should be really working on double evolving himself, and yep, that's exactly what he's right now, as we are talking about it, switching into, and you can see that Blue is already working on some extra walling himself, and he definitely has to, because yet again, the resources are on basically the offensive side in here, and they are going to be very easy to prevent for plumed archers, especially Imperial Age and all upgrades. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6, 7 squares, which means that they should be well in range, and especially the ones at the bottom. And not even this tower is going to be enough to prevent any kind of raiding on this. So yep, pretty big problems right now coming from VNs in there. But the same could be said about Courage on the bottom side in here on the left. Alright, so let's switch into Courage if he actually saw those petards. No, he didn't. Fairly certain he didn't, so it's going to be a bit of a surprise for him. Let's switch into Dark Knight. Going for a lot of them, and he knows that he's gonna need a whole lot of extra as the balls are just piling up in here, and it might not be a bad idea to actually attempt to bridge his opponent through the bottom. You can see that he's right now trying to work on the extra walls in here as well, but still, it's not really ideal. And oh, this is a surprise! Oh man, you can see this is a pretty huge surprise, because right now Winchester is playing this so super smartly, as he's gonna divide the attention of his opponents. He's going to basically pretend that he's attempting to advance on his opponent on the right, maybe even forcing some heavy defensive in there. And well, yeah, you can see the barracks right now from Dark Knight. This was exactly what Milo was suggesting. But he's fully going into the other slinger, and oh my! Oh well, he doesn't know, he doesn't know. And now he knows. So is he gonna take it down? Oh. He didn't know. He wasn't watching. Oh my, he was probably watching here. Oh, something. Oh man, this is terrible. Oh man. He's at least right now knowing that the castle is up, but unfortunately for him, he missed the opportunity where he could have killed it, and he killed just one plumed archer. Yeah, definitely not good enough. Conscription coming in, and this is a pretty huge problem for VNs actually. I'm not exactly sure if they can actually come back from this, because this was a pretty nice attempt from him, and you can see that Winchester is doing such a good job so far. He's not being divided, or rather somehow distracted by his opponent. You can see that he's going with all the barracks in the defense in here, and this is such a smart move from Winchester. Such a smart move, which is working quite nicely, as he was sending a bit of a red herring right next to the blue player to make the green player overcommit on the wrong side, and right now he's gonna be having to transport all the units from the right side to the left before he rebuilds in his own base, which is something like now. But still, this is a pretty nice opportunity for Winchester to make something substantial happen in here, but he really needs to hurry, because of course those Scarlets are coming in, and Plumed Archers are not the correct unit against those. So Chemistry, Ring Archer, Plumed Archer for Winchester. Forging for Dark Knight for better attack of those Scarlets, of course. So yeah, right now, let's see if he's going to be able to somehow deal with this. Oh, this is nice. Artificial choke point in here. So nicely played by Winchester. So damn nicely played. And this is working very nicely for him. And so nice little plays in here that we are seeing in the second game of the RTS League semifinals. So nice. But let's see if he's going to be having any kind of lasting effect, because reinforcements are of course coming in. As the Goth, the double sling Goth is a beast at any kind of map, and well, so far it's at least somehow working, but I'm not really seeing how this could be working anytime more. If oh, this is I don't see how this could be standing up, especially with all the reinforcements coming in. I'm not sure that Winchester has gauged this position correctly, because of course this is going to mean that a few of them are gonna go in here, and I'm not seeing how he could be defending against this, as he needs some kind of champions or I don't know what he could be actually making against those Huskarls, as this Goth boom is going to be quite hard for him to stop. As you can see, all the units, well, that's just a flood from all those barracks in here, and yep, that's going to be pretty hard for the Winchester team to stop. Nothing going on the right, so he's not even interested in going something, or rather doing something in there. He's just right now attempting to build a barrack, so he's probably gonna be switching into Eagle Warriors, which is definitely understandable, and also attempting some extra castles for proper defense, because he's expecting he's gonna be under some pretty heavy pressure very, very soon. So, even though this was a very nice idea, it doesn't really last for long. As right now Dark Knight is going to be taking the fight to his opponent, and let's see how effective is he gonna be at that. I'm gonna switch into Winchester. Squires coming in, of course. Iron Casting we have seen just for the toppest upgrades for Dark Knight, with Blast Furnace coming up. Having already pretty decent upgrades on him. And Chainmail Armor Eagle Warrior, exactly for Winchester. That's going to be the unit of choice for him, which could work quite nicely, because Eagle Warriors are quite cheap and they are not half bad, especially once you are able to spam them. But really, the spam from the Goth is going to be, of course, always pretty strong, and since we are quite early into the game, that means a lot of gold is still left in the game, and he's going to be having all the gold from his allies. I'm not exactly seeing how Winchester could be the correct player to deal with this spam. I'm thinking he could be using a bit of extra help, for example, into some kind of, I don't know, paladins. I would be thinking it would be a good idea for Courage to right now advance and go for knights and such. But yeah, he will probably not be allowed to do so all that much, because Dark Knight is paying attention to him as well, and is gonna try to get rid of the market. Oh, that's a good idea, because without market you cannot sling. Oh man, this is so meta play. I can't really remember anybody targeting purposefully the market to stop the sling, because this is so nicely played, and it's definitely going to be working, because of course, oh no, no, no. Oh, the gate is gonna stay open, and that means that all the Huskarls are on their way in, but he needs to be careful so that he doesn't close. And yep, he is in, which is of course a pretty big problem, as even though Winchester is paying attention and gonna get rid of any kind of raiding on his villages in here, still he needs all the choke points that he can get, and so far doing a pretty good job with microing and trying to somehow stop what his opponent is doing. Otherwise, market is down, which means one has to be rebuilt at the very back, so that was a bit of a disruption to this link in here, and petards in pretty big numbers getting in, which also means that he's going to be attempting to breach the opponent. And is it going to be here or at the bottom? I'm thinking it could be at the bottom into the red, because he's not really prepared for it. You can see already some green units in here, and the guys are coming to the bottom. Okay, so this is definitely gonna be attempt to breach the red, and that could be pretty strong for him, because of course, without any kind of quick army in his base, and those dudes from the Goth player, well, they might be quite capable of wreaking havoc inside the red base, and without the sling, good luck Winchester in keeping yourself in the game. I was going to say keeping the upper hand, but that's definitely not true. So let's wait with such statements in here. Eldorado for better Eagle Warriors, of course, definitely going to be needed. as they are having 60 hit points, 9 plus 2 attack, 70 hit points, 12 plus 4, and in the armor department, O plus 2, whereas Eagle Warriors are having O plus 3, but it is because of the better upgrades, but it also means that they are going to be quite effective, basically trash unit, even though they do cost gold, but quite few, and should be quite cost effective, especially in combination with the plumed archers to get rid of the green army. So, breach moment here. 1, 2. There could be a way through on the right, there is just one wall. Otherwise not. And there is a way through, come on, more to the right. Oh, he just wasted them. Right now he has discovered that he actually made a mistake with them, because he didn't really breach anything. Yeah, that was a pretty bad choice for him, but he's gonna get rid of the market exactly as has been done to his ally courage, and let's see. Let us see if there's something happening in his home base. So far not really all that much, because those two trebuchets actually killing absolutely everything that they can, which is not much. Yeah, just getting rid of the walls in here. Whereas there's a bit of a sneaky build on the right, but sneaky build. Since they are quite nicely positioned outposts, it doesn't matter all that much. It will just be a pretty good spot for him to push through, as there are not really all that many walls. And yeah, it will be easy for some, I don't know, rams to get through, and it might not be really all that bad for him to attempt to diversify the attention in here. Well, green not really doing anything all that much, but the petards are still coming in. With barracks as well. And the pretty strong attack from Huscarls is of course paying off. But we are also seeing that Winchester is right now moving all the way to the left, where he basically began all his adventures in here, and the green player is having pretty big problems, kinda surprisingly so, to deal with all the archers, because I'm not exactly sure why, but it seems like that Winchester is having a better game plan and better actually tactical decision making in this game so far, as he's really at the correct places. He's making the correct little plays, like building the artificial choke points for the archers, basically protecting them against all the Huscarls, and it doesn't seem like that Dark Knight is having that same kind of quality in his play so far, even though he's attempting to breach into the red player quite correctly, and was attempting to kill the teal player as well. You can see finally the trebuchets are gone, but oh well. Mangonels are coming in against archers, of course, pretty good idea, and with all the plume, or rather petards, quite nicely ready, it's almost looking like that he's actually ready in himself to send absolutely everything against the walls in here and get rid of the opponent fully. Oh, that's a big army. Winchester could be at pop. You can see 220, or rather 210 for Dark Knight right now, full. Winchester is... Oh, he's not having enough houses or castles or anything. He's actually housed, and I'm not sure if he realizes it. No, he doesn't, because he's not building extra. He so far doesn't realize that he actually could be having 25 extra army. That's actually a whole lot, especially since he is in the Snake War in here. And let's see if he's gonna attempt to somehow rebuild it for himself. I'm thinking he's hoping that it's going to be up to castles to provide him with the extra population limit, but I would be definitely much more interested in some simple houses behind the base. Finally he is. As of course the castles are gonna get dropped down, exactly as is right now seen at the top, through the Huscarls, and you can see that he's dropped to 155, and that's just a shame in here. It's just a shame in here, and definitely could be done a whole lot better from him to help him in the overall gameplay. Pretty big battle right now with the Eagle Warriors and the Plumed Archers, getting rid of all the green army, whereas in Red's base, problem has been resolved, it almost seems like that actually the units has been recalled. There has been a pretty big battle in here with a lot of the Huscarls in it, which means that there was a bit of fighting, and unfortunately, even though Teal was having the correct idea to try to wall this part of the map, unfortunately he is too slow and he has been discovered by the green player, so no, not any kind of easy walling like this. These gold mines definitely working wonder for courage. As you can see, he has been breached by all the petards, trebuchets, and of course the mangonels as well. And this is a pretty big problem for him, because it's almost looking like that we are at the stage that we were predicting at the start of the game, and that means who is gonna kill his opponent first. So far it's looking like that DNs are doing a better job, even though let's not call it the day yet, because so far it's looking like the Dark Knight will be fully engaged on the right side to deal with the problem that Winchester is, and Winchester is right now pretty big problem for him, even attempting to steal a bit of the gold in here and doing a pretty great job pushing through with the siege rams on the right side with at least a few archers, but all he needs to do is just push through, get rid of the market first. It's of course going to be a good idea as well, and then get rid of all the buildings, and he needs to protect that just a few plumed archers to get rid of the villagers that might be attempting to take those siege weapons down. Looking like the spam from Winchester is much more powerful, especially with the plumed archers being at the back of those eagle warriors. So far doing a pretty great job in here, and it's almost looking like that actually Knight is having not enough barracks. He's having 3, finally rebuilding a whole lot of them more. He's basically recognizing exactly what we see, that he's not having enough production capacities. And well. So far, not really all that much going on in here. As at the bottom, it could be a pretty good opportunity right now for Courage to set up. This volume is also, I'm fairly certain, spurred by the fact that they are going to be needing trading pretty soon, as gold will be running out inevitably. And the team player on the left has been finally killed. You can see that his base is basically right now taken by the green player, and that's a pretty big victory for him, because he's capturing also a whole lot of gold. Those 4 gold mines, this stone mine, a lot of gold at the back, and really, that's going to be a pretty nice bonus for him once he discovers this, and will be very happy about what is going on in there. But he definitely needs to be careful about this position. So many shields in here. And Huskarls as well. So basically the same is right now happening to his teammate Heimdall, who is being breached by the grey player. But I'm not all that sure that he's going to be fast enough, because right now it's almost looking like that actually the green spam is going to be more powerful than the grey spam. Thanks to the extra barracks that were definitely needed in here, and well, this is working quite nicely for him. And yep, there's not much right about now that Winchester can be doing against this, even though there are so many resources being sent to his way. Now he's having a lot of resources. If you have a look at the top, 1000 wood, 1800 food, 4500 gold. I'm really certain that right now, yeah, Courage is going to Castle Age. Yeah, that's definitely needed. I was calling it just about, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes earlier, that he should be advancing into the Imperial Age and get Paladins. That will be definitely something that will help him quite nicely, as there are not going to be any Paladins from the ends, because they are Mayans, Aztecs and Goths. And even though, of course, the Goth can switch into halberd gears quite efficiently, and it will be a pretty big problem, it will, of course, be up to VIKs. To correctly coordinate their armies, and once they could be having, or rather replace the meat shield of the Eagle Warriors with Paladins, they would be so well off, as plumed archers with Paladins are one of the strongest combos in the games. Masonry, Bowsaw, all the upgrades coming in. As on the left there's also a bit of an attempt by Winchester, and it's basically the reason why Winchester isn't all that convincingly winning on the right as he was, as he is attempting to help his teammate, or rather secure this part of the base, as there are still a lot of resources that they could be using for their economy. Fortunately, they are mopping up a few remaining Huskarls, and there's actually a way through, so there could be a pretty good potential for Aiden, if somebody could take advantage of it. And oh man, they should be careful about it, especially green. There is a way through, and that could be potentially pretty deadly for him. Let's return back to the main battlefield. On the right side, where finally there's some, yet again, pretty powerful spam going on from Winchester, who is fully concentrated on the right side, it seems like, whereas he has been finally dealt with in here. All those halfway dead walls in here, and it seems like the Heimdall's brace hasn't been breached, and he is quite safe for the time being. There is though a pretty big problem right now happening at the bottom, because green is yet again attempting to somehow have a look into red's base. Unfortunately, not really having enough siege in there or anything like that. And it's actually quite close by to the main battlefield, which means that he will be able to position his units exactly as he needs to, so he will be mobile quite nicely. And as he's eating slowly but surely into the opponent, I'm thinking he's going to be having much more opportunities to somehow diversify and have a bit of fun with the red player as well. Nobody interested in the relics in here. It's just confusing. It would be fully worth it. It would be fully worth it for... I'm thinking right now for Milo, or rather for Dark Knight, to go for the monastery, because that's really a lot of gold for him. and that's actually the resource that he's having the most problems with. And Castle Age come in for Milo and Warrior as well, so this link is basically off. And I'm thinking that's basically a reaction to the fact that Winchester is having strong economy by himself. We have seen all the economy upgrades from him in the meantime, but we haven't seen anything like that from VNs, from Dark Knight, and that means that he's probably gonna be having pretty weak echo and still be reliant on at least being slugged by Heimdall, because so far only Milo is advancing from Vikingos Nomadas into the Castle Age. Looking at the echo, Winchester is at 83, Milo 99, Dark Knight 72, Heimdall at 94. Really strong economies from VNs, whereas Scourge 57, as he was quite nicely hammered right now by Dark Knight in there, and Warrior at 81. So the economies are actually not that strong as one would expect, but with all the extra upgrades that Winchester is having as opposed to the opponents, he's definitely doing his job, and it seems to be working for him at least decently well, even though he is slowly but surely relinquishing ground, so he definitely needs the help sooner rather than later. Still rebuilding behind the bases in here. And, oh yeah, this is a good idea. Because of the gold, it's going to be super crucial resource in just a moment. And a lot of idle army actually in here. That's not a few units. You can see that he's attempting to breach through with the petards, so he's paying attention all over the map. Doing a pretty good job at that. And Imperial Age coming on from Milo. Oh man, that's going to be a surprise. Because I was thinking that maybe Kerch could be advancing first, even with a bit of sling potentially from Warrior, because he was having this the weak economy. But with the strong economy that Milo is having at 102, he is gonna be the one to advance faster into Imperial Age, and let's see what he's gonna switch into. So far it's looking like Castle, so I would be thinking the Plumed Archers, but I wouldn't really discount the possibility of Eagle Warriors. Because even though he already has the counters to the Plumed Archers, if he can supply basically once more this kind of army, with which Eagle Warriors basically are, there's absolutely no way that this army could be actually dealing with it. So I wouldn't really say it would be a bad idea from him. So let's see what the decision is gonna be in the end. But so far it looked like Plumed Archers. Imperial Age from Warrior as well. From Warrior as a Chinese you could be expecting Chukonus, but yeah, it's kinda sucky, so maybe we'll be switching into Cavaliers or I don't know what. It's gonna be Barracks and Siege Workshop so far. So far we don't see castles from him, as he probably sent all the stone to his ally, which will mean that he will be reliant on... I'm thinking that could be even champions. Now let's check the Chinese. That will be champions. How's it looking with upgrades for them? He has everything. Yeah, that's definitely gonna be champions. But it's gonna be champions from the red player. You can see Chainmail, Man at Arms, Imperial Age. Oh yeah. That's going to be a different take on these things. Now let's see if that's going to be working out for them. Because so far Winchester is having problems right about now, and it's just at the nick of time that a VIK Warrior should be arriving at the battle scene. Because if he doesn't soon, it's almost looking like that Winchester is gonna be losing the grounds in here. Oh man, that's a big battle. That's a really big battle. Let's switch into Winchester's point of view, how many units he actually has. Not as many, but he seems to be defending quite alright, as the next reinforcements are going to be just a bit slower, but with Plumed Archers coming up, and Wolves, much more importantly, coming up as well for trade route. Yeah, we are going to be establishing trade pretty soon from all the markets in here. They are going to be very important for the next game. We are going to be thinking that ENs are going to be having a whole lot more better trade route as opposed to VIKs. Even though VIKs are trying to work on it as well, and they seem to be finishing quite nicely. But, well, the army in here, the green army in the Teal's base is of course a bit of a problem, as even though he's at least able to somehow have a bit of some kind of back base in here, it's still not enough, and the trade route is going to be a whole lot shorter for them. Well, that's gutsy for blue, especially since Winchester is in there as well. So Plumed Archers are coming in to punish. Yeah, that's a bit too late. But let's have a look at the main battlefield, as the Gray player is actually moving forward to the left, as it seems like that Green is having a bit of problems applying the pressure, or rather keeping the pressure, because of course he's not gonna receive the double sling as one of the slingers is off into Milo. He's gonna be playing just himself, and it might not be enough resources for him overall. And you can see, oh sorry, that actually Winchester is having basically the same problem. He's out of any resources. He doesn't have gold, he doesn't have food, he doesn't have wood. Well, the wood, at least a few of it. But well, device not really working all that well. And finally, long swordsman coming in, soon going to be upgraded into two-handed swordsman with the plate mail armor coming up as well. It's going to be basically up to proper micro-win, because the plume archers on both sides are going to be wrecking the infantry as soon as they are able to do so. Aggressive castle, so definitely the scissors are closing around the VIK's throats. Milo starting trade exactly as we predicted, and well, yeah, this is basically the correct decision, I think, because they need to wait for Warrior to MS a bit more of the two-handed swordsman and even get the champions in here and the plate mail armor, and then once they have a proper amount of units, especially the plumed archers in here, it's going to be time to bounce and potentially go into some kind of decisive attack in here. Trade already going on, but of course not going to be as long. Really rather short, even as the other trade is going to be slightly longer. To be coming all the way here. All the way in here, and well, pretty strong army. So we are basically right now waiting for the correct moment to bounce. As both have seen that there are going to be some extra armies, and that's going to be plumed archers from Milo and the two-handed swordsman, and potentially even champions from the Chinese player a bit later on. Warrior, do you have resources for the champions? Almost. Almost, but you are having just low population limit, as Heimdall is also switching in the castle age, so it's really looking like that the slinging time is going to be over. Maybe not for Kirch yet, because he is having the slowest economy, or rather was. He's already at 107. Yeah, poor Trebuchet in here. And I'm thinking we will be welcoming some managers in here. I would definitely welcome them. So who's gonna be making them? I'm not exactly sure, because they are quite gold intensive, sorry. And it doesn't seem like that will be a resource available to all the players. There's still a few of them left for the deal. Champions finally coming in for Warrior. And there is still actually a lot of gold, 600, 800 gold. That's still not that bad. And there is pretty interesting mine at the top, but that is fully taken by VNs, and same is going for the stone, which is definitely going to help him in securing some extra stone for the castles in here. So far, Siege Workshop and extra castle exactly. As there is a bit of a breach on the right side from Winchester yet again, trying to get into the economy, but he needs to hurry up, as of course, it's almost looking like that VNs are slightly getting ready for some kind of decisive push at the very end. Let us see. Iron casting for Warrior, hoardings for Milo, for better castles. And Trebuchet coming in as well. Ah, careful, careful. Careful. As champions are ready. Oh, this is going to be cat and mouse. Because of course the champions are going to be attempting to get onto the Huscarls. Whereas, of course, the opposing side is going to be attempting exactly to prevent that. So, yeah, this is correct for VIKs. Incorrect for VNs. Two-man soul chemistry crop rotation for VN. Milo just now getting all the military upgrades, or other economy upgrades, sorry. And oh well, this is perfect battle actually right now for VIKs. And if they can somehow claim victory out of here, they could be on their way to make something happen in here, but I'm not exactly sure that they will be winning. Because the plume touches are, of course, with the extra castles going to be coming in, are gonna be a pretty big problem. So far they are doing a pretty good job, but so if the castles and siege workshops from VN Milo, who is absolutely not minding any kind of army, opposing him in here, just building in the middle of the battlefield, yeah. Why not? YOLO. He's definitely gonna be the deciding factor in here, as the spam from the Huskarls should be a bit more stronger than all the champions and the Bloom Touches right now coming from VIX. A breach on the right side didn't happen, as a flank of Dark Knight. Oh, this is quite close actually, as a flank of Huskarls dealt with it, but there is a bit of an opportunity because there's just one last row of walls and potentially the grey player could be through, so that's something that blue should be really taking care of and shouldn't really underestimate at all, because that could be a pretty big problem for him if he is going to allow that to happen. So right now he's going to be slinging back into advantage of VNs, as they are going to be advancing forward. As Dread player is probably not having enough push in here, as he is still attempting to supply all the champions, but of course he doesn't have the same spamming ability as the opponents are having, especially the ghosts in here, and that's definitely showing in here, and I'm not exactly seeing how this game could be lasting all that much longer, because there is not any kind of divisive action happening from VIX anywhere else, and this is basically the only battlefield, and so far it's looking that VIX are slowly but surely falling behind, and there's not much that they could be doing, as they are even unable to take care of all those trebuchets on the left. So nicely played so far by VNs, and it's looking that it's gonna finish exactly as was supposed at the beginning, with 2 cards against archers, but Winchester played so well that he actually kept the game alive for more than an hour of game time in here, and well, that's definitely something that he has to be commended for. Gems from Milo, big warrior with chemistry. So that could be switch into, I don't know, Jukonus, but I don't expect that. He shouldn't be having the stone, so not exactly sure what that could be. Not exactly sure. But cancel down for Winchester. Others should be following pretty soon. And once they do, that of course will mean that without any kind of extra stone, as there isn't any extra stone, the one at the top has been finished, is going to be it. As Winchester won't be able to replace the lost Bloom Touches, and with just the infantry he's not going to be good enough against all the Bloom Touches that so far Milo is having and spamming on him, as their trade route is much better, and that means that they are having a whole lot more gold than their opponents are right now. You can see pretty decent amount of gold for VNs, or decent. Better than their opponents. Barracks in here. Milo finally getting the relics. Yeah, the monk in here, so finally they are getting there. And this is the last army of Winchester. Now the Bloom Touches can get killed by the Bloom Touches of the opponents, and especially by the Huskarls that are arriving on the battlefield, and some yet again pretty aggressive castle, basically claiming the territory right now to be Vikingos Novaras, and it means that the territory of VIX is quite surely, or rather, stooping back their bases, and that's not really good news for them. Still a bit of battle going on in here, as the champions are exactly what is protecting the Bloom Touches. But is it going to really last for much longer? I don't really think so. It shouldn't be all that much, it should be happening. There's not any kind of attempt at trading into the trade route, like literally nothing. And Heimdall is going for the bottom, and is it maybe for markets? No, not really. He's probably going inside the gates for the stone in here. Yep, you can see the mining camp, and that will mean that the extra stone will go for, I don't know, probably the Mayan, I would be thinking, and he would be having all that much more resources to control the map overall. So right about now is basically all about the ends inching into the victory, because there's like 0 chance for VIX to actually come back into this, but this was a very great game, and it will mean that the match is going to be 2-0 for VNs, which is, well, maybe a bit unexpected result, but definitely in line with what they have been showing in their performances this season so far. So it's going to be a bit of a hill for VIX to climb back on, because going from 2-0 back to 3-2, that definitely can happen, but it's not going to be easy at all. So one of the last castles for the Mayan going to be going down. And is that going to be exactly the moment for GG? So far not. So they are really in the fighting spirit in here, the Russians. Which is definitely commendable, as there's not always... it's usually not a good idea to resign too early. Because as long as there is a bit of fight to be had, there is still a bit of a chance that your opponent is going to be making some kind of mistake. And that will allow you to come back into the game, especially in the later games, where the resources are sparse, and that means that all the lost army needlessly is going to be paying, or rather, costing you doubly than what it will cost you in the moment where you are having stronger economies and basically can replace without any kind of problem, which was about half an hour ago than it is now. Slowly but surely the VNs are getting into the trade route, so that's going to be the last nail into the coffin for VIX. Because that's basically the last source of resources, especially for the gold, of course. But Winchester still keeping the Mayan archers alive, but without any kind of castle he cannot really replenish, and you can see that he's not having any kind of extra military buildings, anything like that. He's still rebuilding barracks, so he's attempting to do something, but I'm not exactly sure what that could be. Because yet again, the map is absolutely in control of the ends. You can see they are everywhere. Literally everywhere. They are controlling half of the map, and finally the GGs are in, and yes, it's exactly as we predicted. The Ents are going to be leading 2-0 in the semifinals of season 39 of RTS League's Age of Empires to the Conquerors Clan League. Nice game. Nice game, double sling against double sling, and we have seen some very good plays, especially from Winchester, some really good micros and such, but in the end it wasn't enough, as simply the civilization battle was in favor of the gods in here. Let's just be clear about that, but it has to be said, it didn't really look like it. Winchester was playing so well that he was able to erase even that potential civilization advantage. Let's check the achievements. There's going to be a whole lot of dead bodies. A whole lot of dead bodies. Winchester, yes, MVP, even though he was on the losing team, he definitely played the best of all them players in this game. 117 army, 141 for Dark Knight, of course. Units lost 1057. Well, that's one hell of a spam. That's one hell of a spam. 1073 killed for Winchester. The efficiency was there, but simply the spamming ability of the gods is through the roof. Oh, nice slinging. Receiving 70,000 resources in the end. That's 10,000 more than Winchester. But I think it was because in the end, actually, VIX stopped to sling a whole lot sooner than VNs. That could be the difference in there. Same advance, 24, 2034. The 180 villages in the end. Well, fortunately wasn't enough. GG. GG.